Hi, everybody. I say this all the time. When people are super nice to me, I retreat into myself and don't know what to do. Thank you so much. That was like so nice. Shout out to December in general, like just an excellent publication from start to finish. Shout out to Young Chicago authors who are like doing amazing things. I wish I was like 16 and had something like this to come to. Shout out to like the amazing women who I'm reading with tonight, well today. But yeah, okay. I'm going to read from When You Learn the Alphabet. Something you should know is usually all my work is just things that make me angry and that I want to complain about. And essentially, like my favorite topics are like my daddy and white people. So, okay, I'm not going to start. Okay, so this essay goes to like every letter of the alphabet and we don't have time for all that. So I'm going to like skip around a little bit, but just know it's like I reach every letter. Yeah. C. Church is non-negotiable. Every Sunday morning you ask why you gotta go every Sunday. You are there every Wednesday for youth meeting, Thursday for choir rehearsal, and some Saturday mornings for holiday program rehearsals. On Sundays, you might not leave. Sunday school is at 9 a.m., morning worship starts at 10:45 a.m., and it's a different kind of pastor's anniversary every other week at 3 o'clock. Your mama says as long as you live in a house where she's paying the bills, you gonna go wherever she sends you. You say there ain't that much praising the Lord in the world, but you will still get dressed and purposely scratch a hole into your stockings, partly because they itch and mostly to prove a point. Church will teach you all the books of the Bible. Everything will end like Revelation said, and you can't wait to see how the locusts will look. But what you remember most is Genesis 1:1, when God created the heavens and earth. He made woman out of man. He made flesh out of flesh. Sometimes you scratch your skin and leave pieces of your old self under your fingernails and call it a flesh-eating disease. You will join the children's choir because you have to do something. You can't just sit there, and all the kids in the choir stand will pass now and laters back and forth from the same package until there's none left. The old women ushers always have red peppermints in their purses. That's what they give the kids to make them shut up. And some Sundays you will settle for them even though you like green peppermints best. D. Delivery at your doorstep, a case of strawberry and chocolate milk. Your daddy, the truck driving milkman for the moment, left it there, left you there. F. Fear frightened you. G. God gave her power and now her face looks like ripples in the ocean. You know she's gonna die. She died at 94 years old, and years before she was gone, her mom made her forget that you were born in 1994. Your great-grandmother used to have all of her great-grandchildren on the floor of her yellow wood panel house counting out quarters. She had a flower vase full of coins next to her favorite pull-out chair, and every time y'all visited, she would spread them out across the floor. A pile in the front of each of you. The older you were, the bigger the pile would be. You were the youngest. You have always been the youngest. She'd spread the coins across the rug and tell y'all to count it out. However much was in your assigned pile, you could keep. You remember this whenever you remember her. She was given and she gave. Bowls of Bluebell homemade vanilla, cans of Coke, lots of coins. You remember debt isn't that bad. You knew there'd be days like this and no one had to tell you. You knew how easy it is to forget things sometimes. H. Horror story. Your childhood friend goes to jail for not snitching. When his whole life he'd been told a snitch is the worst thing that he could be, that there's no safe recovering from it. As a child, there were many times when y'all were told to stop telling all the time. You stored it just how he did. It was important to determine if you'd be defined by whether or not you were loyal. He was just doing what he was told. But part of you still blames him. He's still in the cell years later for a crime he didn't commit. Part of you blames him for committing to be loyal only. Part of you that follows the impossible expectations of the hood praises him for being some obscure version of a real nigga. Part of you still blames him for falling into a system that was designed specifically for him. He knows when he returns home, he will be respected. You know, respect is a lot, but it ain't everything. Ignore the idea that people actually care what you think. They only care about whether you think the same way that they do. J. Journalism was supposed to be your career. You came to college wanting to write about music, wanting to be a critic, because you love to intimidate people with how musically inclined you are. In your intro to journalism class, they wanted you to write about the news, about politics, about other things you do not care about, because politics and news stations do not care about the headline, 8 warning shots in another nigga's back. Followed by the subheading, when white people can't disguise their racism any longer. Journalism doesn't want to talk about that stuff. They say you're too close to it, that you have to stick to fact as if the complete disregard of the lives of your cousins, uncles, friends do not qualify as fact. Fact number 1, they can but won't print a headline with the N-word in it. They will say you can't say that word, it's offensive. But when they say that it's offensive, what they really mean is they're just upset they can't say it, publicly anyways, and especially in a headline. Fact number 2, if you had stuck with fact, the headline would have read instead, why is it okay for you to call me a nigga in the privacy of your home, but I'm not allowed to say my own name? So niggas freely using the word nigga is just something y'all gonna have to deal with. But they would just tell you a subheading can't be that long. Kinetic energy flows through the nigga veins apparently. They can jump higher, dance better, dunk a ball with style, prophesize from prison, make a crowd laugh, throw a punch harder, be a human auction, write a rap song eloquently, have their hair stand tall, be target practice, throw a football, pick cotton in a hot field, play an instrument seductively, start a riot while trying to start a revolution, and if it's absolutely necessary, they can even outrun a fat-ass cop because you know they're on their second strike and ain't trying to get locked back up. You know they're good at going to prison. L. Lying to God may be illegal, you're not sure, and sometimes you do it just in case you run out of mercy. Forgive me, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. A priest lying to you is still legal across countries though. M. Money will always be an issue. You don't love money and everyone around you is in a by any means necessary sacrificial relationship to get it. They love the idea of money more than they love themselves. No one in your family has money enough to where they don't have to worry about it. Spending their checks on cash cards and weed. When the money runs low, they just sell their food stamps for half price and call it a day. N. Next semester's tuition will be going up by only 0.3%. Only 0.3%. They think you should be grateful of this. Bria says you should strip. You can cover that 0.3% in one night. You tell her your ass ain't big enough. She tells you to start squatting and eventually it will round out. You tell her you've been over backward for enough people already. O. Oppression will come mostly in darker hues, and you know the world is not black and white, but that's just because no one wants to admit that it is. Your daddy will tell you no matter how much you are aware of white people issues, about the drugs they use, about the lives they live, they don't give a damn about the black ones. He will say they don't give a fuck about us in the most disrespectful way he can. It'll have the time his boss called him a nigger in his throat when he says it. He choked him out. You can still hear he's still mad about that one. You can also hear he's still proud about that one. You would be proud of him. He says that they don't care about relating to you, that they only care about creating from you. And you'll sit on the couch and remember when P said there is nothing anyone can say or do to him that can make him feel bad about being white. P. Psychology says everything you do has meaning behind it, and you watch yourself attempt to victimize your decisions and behaviors and personality. Your aunt was yelling, I hope you OD on the medicine. I hope you OD on the medicine. because she acts crazy when she hasn't swallowed a couple of pills. She also acts crazy when she has. The doctor told her she's bipolar, has OCD, and Tourette syndrome. When she told you this, you laughed, and so did she. She would get 3 checks every month, and she would accept whatever they say is wrong with her. She tells people it's a diagnosis, but she forgets to add that a man beat her every day just for being pretty, which is why she likes to fight. Forget to say she won't sit still because she has drugs in her system that is working and eating at her cells. Her teeth will chatter because she hasn't had enough money for a hit in about a week, so she'll lash out at anyone who isn't fighting a 20-year addiction. Q. Quiet rooms are the ones holding all of the family secrets. Places like funerals and weddings and grandparents' houses. At the funeral, your mama said grandmother was mean and prejudiced and had favorites. At your grandparents' house, no one talks about why certain people can't get along and who is actually family by blood, but food is always around to keep you quiet. R. Repeat the phrase, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Everything you know about the Bible, your mother told you. When you try to read for yourself, you get really drowsy. 16 candles. When you turn 16, you ask for a purity ring. You don't know why you didn't think to go to a Bible store or somewhere that specializes in cleansing the body, because all the jewelry stores in the mall said they weren't sure if they sold purity rings. But they do have rings you can just buy and just default as a purity ring, like a backup plan ring, like a plan B ring. They would say it's a good thing to see such a young girl wanting one though. You'll say thanks and settle for a ring with 2 hearts intertwined together, 1 pink and 1 silver. Your purity was worth only $100. It has to be worth pennies by now. You. Understand telling a lie is the same as murder, it's the same as rape, it's the same as adultery. You're a liar, you lie, you'll steal. You steal, you'll kill. That's just how this sinning thing works. Until you got caught in a big lie, you didn't care how much you did it. You lied just to end a conversation. You lied just so you can hear the TV again. You lied and then someone would lie to you and somehow their lie was more potent, but you know no sin is greater than the other. So you have been practicing truth telling. They say in 28 days it will become a habit. The truth is, Black lives do not matter to a large percent of our population, and you wish that they would stop lying for ratings. Ignorance ain't bliss. Violence isn't the answer, but it gets shit done from time to time. And Clinton had sexual relations with that woman. You go, Bill. V. Virginity isn't real, your roommate says, because your hymen grows back after you haven't had sex in a while. Maybe a couple of months, it grows back. You want so badly to ask, has her hymen grown back and has she ever met anyone whose hymen has grown back? Because if she has, there's a bigger issue that needs to be discussed. Everyone in the room agrees with her. You want so badly to ask if your hymen grows back, how long does it take? You don't know at the time she's both right about one thing and very, very wrong about the other. W. Withdrawal from people who look like you is a real thing. Your school is predominantly and systematically white. You came to this school not wanting to go to a HBCU, and now you think about this decision a lot. That you thought too many Black people wouldn't help you grow because you spent your entire life around too many Black people, and now you're in a place where you barely see them. Now you answer questions about weaves. You say they come in 12-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch, 18-inch, up to however many inches you would like. You answer questions about whether or not you've personally been treated wrong by a white person. You answer questions about how much seasoning you put on your food, about your afro when you take out your weave, about lotion, about perms, about everything you wouldn't have to answer if you went to a Black college. You say it's okay to ask. You just mind that you are solely looked upon to represent an entire race. You mind white people can represent themselves, but what they think of you specifically will be what they believe your entire race is like. You mind you have to give the correct answer and not your answer. You mind you have to be a collective voice. You hope that they shiver when you speak. X. X is the number of people who can embody selflessness. You do not know these people. Why? Yesterday you called your dad. He asked how you were doing. You said you were fine. He asked how is school. You said you're not going to get all A's this semester. He said you just have to work harder next time. The phone gets static on the line because no one is speaking. You ask him what is he doing. He says he's watching the game. You ask who's playing. He says the Rockets. You say they're going to lose. He says they beat the sorry Mavericks. You say barely. The phone gets static on the line because no one is speaking. He asks, do you want to watch the game with him? You ask, what channel is it on? He says 45. You go into your living room and turn on the TV. He asks, are you watching? You say, yeah. The phone gets static on the line because no one is speaking. Z. Zigzag is the pattern you have to run in if a snake is chasing you. You are still running in circles. Thank y'all.